So we got Scarecrow taking on Mysterio. Who wins? Well, let's find out. Utilizing a fear-inducing gas known as fear toxin, Jonathan Crane preys upon the people of Gotham City as the villainous Scarecrow. Abused as a child by his grandmother and bullied at school, Crane developed an obsession with the power of fear when he scared away his bullies using a Scarecrow costume. He'd kill his grandmother before leaving for university, where he would perfect his fear toxin and began his life of crime. Now, Scarecrow has no known superhuman powers or abilities, but he is in surprisingly decent shape. He's strong enough to hurt and beat down Stephanie Brown, and has even managed to sucker punch and beat up a weakened and tired Batman. He's also actually pretty durable, as he's taken hits from Batman, Catwoman, Stephanie Brown, and even following multiple stories, it doesn't hurt him. On top of all that, he survived being hit by lasers, set on fire, and he even survived having a tree stab through his arms, hands, lungs, and having his arm broken backwards. Scarecrow is deceptively good at martial arts, and is allegedly a master of Crane-style kung fu. However, none of that is Scarecrow's greatest asset, as he usually utilizes his fear toxins in a fight. The fears caused riots, induced fear of heights, claustrophobia, and even quickly alternated fears between agoraphobia, claustrophobia, and a handful of other phobias. The fear gas is potent enough to seep through the skin, and has taken out Batman, Nightwing, Robin, Catwoman, even Superman, and the Joker. This stuff is extremely potent. It's also able to induce illusions, as it made Hawkman think everyone in Chicago was an enemy, and made Supergirl think that Robin was a Black Lantern. It can also be administered in a ton of different ways, as Scarecrow can release the gas from his gloves, or guns, or needles, and even occasionally wears a glove with syringes full of poison on each finger. Crane is also quite skilled with a scythe, and has knives that can cut Batman's armor. He's also a brilliant man, as he's a genius in the field of clinical psychology, is able to identify the psychological weaknesses in most people he encounters, and Riddler even considers him to be a close intellectual equal. And then in the corner of Mysterio. Mysterio was a formidable foe to Spider-Man, so much so that his arts of illusions were carried on by others after the original Mysterio's death. However, the original Mysterio, Quentin Beck, has recently returned, but the events behind his resurrection are currently shrouded in mystery. Quentin Beck was an expert at designing special effect devices and stage illusions, as well as being a master hypnotist and magician and an amateur chemist. He was also a skilled hand-to-hand combatant thanks to being a stuntman, but none of this really helped him in his career industry. Thinking it would be easier to become famous just by being a costumed criminal, Mysterio was born. Now, Mysterio's main threat is the form of creating illusions, thanks to his great skill and extremely advanced technology. Throughout the years, he's tricked Spider-Man into thinking he was 6 inches tall, faked a giant storm over New York City, created multiples of himself, and has tricked Peter into believing he had killed people on multiple occasions. He's caused Spider-Man to go insane by making all these fake villains show up. He's faked the death of Aunt May and can easily whip up giant monsters. He does a hologram so that he's actually rarely where you think he is, and has even been able to trick Reed Richards, one of the smartest men in the entire Marvel Universe. He's also a master of mind control and hypnosis, as he's forced a bunch of heroes to fight each other, and even makes Spider-Man think that he's drowning in a pool, when in actuality, the pool was never even wet. He's also got plenty of unique gear on him at all times, like spring-heeled boots, hologram, lightning, and fire projectors, a suit that enhances his strength, EMPs, radar sensors, various hallucinogenic gases, and tranquilizers strong enough to knock out Spider-Man and She-Hulk. Mysterio is even so great at illusions and trickery that he's essentially learned how to teleport right in front of someone. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, both of these guys are masters at manipulating others, using hallucinations to defeat their enemies. These guys are definitely more brains over brawn, mind over muscle kind of villains. So I guess the first thing we need to look at here is how these guys' hallucinogens will work on the other. Well, Mysterio's not going to have any effect, mostly because Scarecrow has an immunity to it. I mean, the guy's been around chemicals most of his life, and his long-term exposure to various chemicals and toxins grants him an enhanced immunity to most of them. Odds are that whatever hallucinogen Mysterio is using, Scarecrow has run across it before, and even used it himself, and will have an immunity to it. Then on the other hand, we've got Scarecrow's fear toxin, which is probably the most powerful and potent gas in this fight. I mean, the toxin has affected Superman before, which is more than anything we've seen with Mysterio's toxins. However, these toxins and gases won't affect Mysterio because of his giant fishbowl. This helmet is completely airtight, with its own separate air supply, and has filters to filter out any toxin or gas that might try and get in. So that looks like a wash, except for one thing. The gas isn't the only way for Scarecrow to send out his toxin. He's also delivered it through darts fired from guns, needles, and even sometimes wore a glove with syringes full of poison on each finger. Mysterio's armor is solid and gives him slightly enhanced strength, but there's really been nothing to suggest that it's impenetrable to guns or even needles. Then there's also Scarecrow's scythe. This scythe is theorized to be made of promethium, as being able to cut through Killer Croc's hide, so he'll be able to slice through Mysterio's suit and even his helmet, and then cranking his toxin in it that way. And this toxin has been able to affect Superman, so clearly it can bypass biological immunity, and it's really so powerful that you basically need a Green Lantern-like willpower to resist this fear toxin. However, this is all working under the assumption that Mysterio is just going to be standing there and take it. He isn't. And Scarecrow's fear toxin is kind of the only thing in his arsenal, but for Mysterio, it isn't. He's got plenty of other things in his arsenal, starting off with holograms. This might be the most important thing in this fight, because Scarecrow's whole chance of winning hinges on his ability to shoot Mysterio and inject him, or hit him with a syringe, or get him with the scythe. This is going to be real difficult to do, because Mysterio's holograms are weirdly powerful. They've tricked Spider-Man and Hawkeye and dozens of other heroes throughout the years, and will trick Scarecrow here as well. So basically, Scarecrow's just going to be shooting his dart and swinging his scythe at nothing, thinking that he's going for Mysterio. That's not the only thing that Mysterio has in his arsenal, because besides hallucinogens, he's also got gear that can project lightning and fire, unleash smoke that makes him much harder to hit, has the ability to essentially teleport, and his suit enhances his strength. He's also a better fighter than Scarecrow, so he can literally just beat him in a hand-to-hand fight if need be. Mysterio just got Scarecrow outmatched here, and when neither of their hallucinogens will work, he has all these things to fall back on while Scarecrow doesn't. I've got to say Mysterio wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts, so sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos just like this one every single week, and I will see you next time.